welcome back to my channel. So I think this video is going to be a TAURYN talk, which is something that we've never really done before, but rather than show like a day in my life, I kind of just want to catch you guys up on what I've been up to. Let's see, my last video was not too long ago, but it had nothing to do with my med school journey. I dyed my locks, and as you can see, it's been a while since that even happened. But I think my last video was like March or April of 2022, so I have a lot of shit to catch y'all up on. I really do. And what I think I'm gonna do is go wash my hair, and as I retwist my hair, I'm gonna just tell you guys about me. So it might still end up being a little bit of a hair video, but it won't be a tutorial or anything. You just get to like watch me do my thing while I talk to y'all. So stay tuned. See y'all in a sec.
She wanna know where I've been and who I see. She wanna know where I'm going and carry me.
Okay, I'm back. I've showered, I've washed my hair, and can I just say how much my locks have come along? I love them. Okay, so my plan in terms of catching up is probably just to go like month by month, starting in like May, and just give y'all a little rundown on what I've been up to. So what I'm using to retwist my hair is this lock butter, Totally Twisted Lock Butter by Alakay Naturals. Honestly, like it melts into my hair literally like butter. The hold is pretty nice, and my hair is all shiny afterwards, so I love it for my retwist. And that and water is like the only thing that I use now. No gels, no heavy waxes or anything like that. So let's see, let's start with May. So May was like one of the busiest months for me for sure. I took off, so I was working at McGuire Neuroscience Lab for my thesis like that whole year. But May was super busy, so I took it off because I just didn't have time to be working like 20-40 hours in the lab and then also trying to like study for the MCAT full time. So yeah, I graduated on the 21st with my master's in biomedical sciences. This was more of just like, I didn't actually graduate yet because I hadn't finished my thesis. So I was just walking the stage with my classmates. And I'm really glad that I got to do that because, you know, it was special and my family got to come. And yeah, there was pictures taken and like cap and gown. I had like a little grad party. It was cute. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't able to like fully enjoy myself only because 6 days later I was taking the MCAT, and that was such a stressful time in my life. Like I was just crying all the time. I was mentally drained, but I also knew that I had put so much work into this. Like I memorized every physics formula I could ever possibly need. You know, like I was going through hundreds of Anki cards every single night, and you know, that's all I can really ask myself for. But honestly, I studied up until 2 days before my exam, and then the day right before my exam, I just told myself like, honestly, anything that I don't know by now, I'm not gonna know. I was just like, you know, if I know it, I know it, and I'm not gonna stress it. And I really gave myself like that day to recuperate and deal with my anxiety and all that. And I think that that's why like on testing day, I just had such a calm, like that calm before the storm. Like I knew I was about to sit down for 7 hours and have to perform at like the top of my ability in order to prove that I deserve to be in med school. But I just wasn't too stressed about it. Like I knew that I had done what I had done for months at a time. Like I'd been studying since October 2021, and here we are, May 2022. So, you know, I was like, I can do it. I knew I could get above a 500 because my diagnostic score was like a 497 or something like that. And all my practice exams were like pretty promising. I didn't ever hit my goal score, which was like above a 510, but you know, I had faith in myself that when the time comes, I could perform. So yeah, when test day came, I was not that anxious. I drove myself to Cambridge. I played my gospel music. I might have cried a little bit, but honestly, it was just because of the sense of peace that I felt going into the exam. And like, that's something that I haven't felt in a long time, especially when it comes to like this pre-med stuff. Like, I'm a pretty anxious person nowadays, and I just have to attribute it to all the proving yourself that you have to do when it comes to med school journeys. Like every step of the way, it's like a door's trying to be slammed in your face, somebody's trying to deny you for something, and you just have to like fight imposter syndrome and tell yourself and everybody around you, I can do this, I was made to do this, I will do this. I just got out of my MCAT and I just finished a little praise session, which is why I'm crying. I just feel so overwhelmed and so relieved to be done with this long ass exam. So much pressure, and I just feel like I feel really at peace, and I feel so supported. I had so many people reach out to me in the past couple weeks, just, you know, offering inspiration and support and telling me how it was already written. They know that I'm gonna do well, that I did well on this exam. They know that I'm gonna get into medical school, and honestly, like, just such a blessing to have so many people in my corner. And yeah, so I don't know, I felt really blessed going into it. And then a few weeks later, I found out that I surpassed my goal score, which was amazing and another blessing. And honestly, it was what I needed, because if I found out that I had to retake the MCAT, I mean, I would have done it, but I just really wouldn't have been happy, and it would have made this application season like that much rougher. Moving on to June. Basically working full time. I had deadlines to reach for my research project, so I was reading research papers every night. I was doing analyses, I was imaging my brain slices, just doing a lot of stuff. But on top of that, I was writing, and for the first time, like in the year that I was doing research, I actually like needed to write. Like I had an abstract to write, I had introduction, methods and material, and like honestly, it was so overwhelming because I felt like I was just learning all this. Like, I don't have a PhD in neuroscience. You know, I'm not a neuroscience researcher. I don't do this. And I don't read that many neuroscience papers anymore. So I felt like I was a little bit like in over my head. I felt like I was learning everything for the first time, and then I would expected to somehow be an expert on it when it comes time to write about it. So, you know, I definitely felt a little bit of, once again, imposter syndrome creeping in, and just like, how can I write about this? How can I act like an expert when I'm not? But honestly, I became an expert in my own field, in what I was doing my experiments on. I learned about temporal lobe epilepsy and pathology of it in the brain, how it affects the HPA axis, and you know, the different hormones, stress hormones and all that. But anyway, yeah, June, we were just like getting all moved in, getting situated, and I was doing a lot of research. This was also the month that I submitted my primary applications. So I had already written my personal statement. It was more about like getting money set up because I wasn't working and I just had to pay for a new apartment. So I didn't really have money to submit to a bunch of schools either. So yeah, June I submitted, kind of was just waiting for secondaries for most of the summer. Also in June, we have our STEM Noir conference, and this was my first year as a STEM Noir ambassador, and it just so happened, so it was a virtual conference, but our sponsors were a biotech company in, stop, open the door, you don't need to be scratching, open the door. Anyway, our title sponsor was a biotech company in Boston, and so the planning council was in Boston to put on the actual virtual conference for everybody else. And since I lived in Boston, they were like, yo, I know you're an ambassador, but do you want to like come through and help us run it? Of course I did. So I trooped my way to Cambridge every day during the conference, and you know, it was really just a lot of networking with, oh, and if you don't know what STEM Noir is, that is basically a community for Black women in STEM, made for Black women by Black women, And every year we put on a research conference and wellness retreat where, you know, Black women can come and present their research. They can hear from, you know, mentors in the industry. They can get advice. And it was just a really amazing opportunity. I got to meet a lot of the planning council that I'd never met in person. I got my very first ever headshots done and heard from a lot of really inspiring scientists and doctors. At the end of it, I was asked to be on the planning council. So now I'm part of like the communications department. I handle a lot of like the social media. This June, we're putting on another research conference in Puerto Rico. So hopefully we can see you there. If you're a Black woman in STEM, feel free to comment or DM me on Instagram or go DM STEM Noir. It's STEMNOIRE. We have a place for you, a community for you. And if you've ever been, you know, a Black woman who feels like they don't have mentorship that looks like you, come talk to us because we can find you somebody. Honestly, that's what the community's for. Ooh, did it. At this point, I am trying my hardest to get all my drafts in, send them to the people that need to edit them, and things just started going very quickly. So I submitted that at the end of July, early August, and I just got so much good feedback from it. Jamie McGuire, she was the one whose lab I was working in. She was my thesis mentor. She was telling me that, you know, she was just proud of me. This was novel research. It hadn't been researched in our field yet, and it's something that's relevant to patients. You know, stress is something that all patients deal with, and it turns out that epileptic patients are a little bit more susceptible to the effects of stress, and it can worsen their seizure outcomes and cause comorbidities like anxiety and depression to pop up. And these things are very relevant to epilepsy patients. And so while I was working with mice and really doing foundational research that honestly didn't have enough statistical significance to be able to, you know, concretely say this is causing this, like, you know what I mean? It did set a foundation for future neuroscience research. And I'm so grateful that I was, you know, allowed the opportunity and the resources to do this research that I know her lab and maybe other labs and other scientists will carry on and make real change in the world of epilepsy. And I feel like that's such a blessing. So I ended up submitting the final draft to my reader, who was also the president of my MBS program. And he was telling me that this is one of the best lab theses he's ever read, which you don't have to tell me twice. I'm the best. After that, I was cleared to graduate, and I officially had my degree, my master's in biomedical sciences. I did that. I was done. And then I needed to find a full-time job because now the secondaries were pouring in, and I had no money to, like, it doesn't matter if you turn around an essay in 2 weeks if you can't afford to pay the $100 to $200 that it takes to submit that essay. Like, I have never been so stressed about money in my life like I was this summer. Like, I just didn't have the income that I needed because I was doing research and all this other academic stuff and not, you know, hustling and making money like I could have been. And even though I wasn't making money I had 20 schools like, give me $50, give me $70, give me $120, give me $150 to submit more essays to possibly get an interview. And that's the shit that really stressed me, because I'm like, I'm spending my last trying to apply to these schools, and I am not even guaranteed an interview. Like, I might send you close to $300 for you to be like, thanks, you're actually not the candidate for us. We're not even gonna interview you. Good luck next year. Like, that just had my stomach just, it was so hard for me to write the secondary essays, because I'm like, what am I doing this for? What am I spending all this money for? But I got it done. You know, I had to dig really deep. I had to do a lot of journaling and figuring out my why. Like, why is this so important to me? Like, I know I've spent 10, 20 years working towards this goal of being a doctor, but why? Like, I know I like science. I know I like working with patients. but why? Like, why am I willing to spend all this time and money and effort for this? And once I was able to answer those questions and find my inspiration, it was a lot easier to write the secondary essays and send them off. And now I've sent my secondaries to every school that I want to. And I'm kind of at a point where I did get my first interview invitation. So I'm excited about that. I haven't done the interview yet, and I'm not going to tell you what school yet. Some of you know, but I'm waiting for more interview invitations. Hopefully they'll come, because in my mind, I'm a strong applicant. I have the clinical hours, I have the desire, I have the upward trend in grades, I have the masters. So like, honestly, if I don't get in anywhere this cycle, I'm not sure what to even do better next time around. So yeah, as soon as I finished my thesis, I was like, it's time to get a job. And eventually I got an interview as a medical assistant at a surgical specialties clinic. Honestly, I feel like I underestimated it a little bit. Like, I knew that it wasn't going to be as challenging as like my EMT job, for instance, just because the scope of practice is different. I'm not coming up with differential diagnoses. I'm not administering medication or any life-saving preventions like suction, oxygen therapy, you know. I'm not doing CPR, you know, unless there was like a crazy emergency, but like, you know, I'm thinking, okay, derm, it's gonna be rooming patients. Maybe I knew I wasn't even taking vitals. So, you know, I definitely underestimated the workload, but now I'm really enjoying myself. Like, a lot of my providers, you know, it's a surgical specialty, so they're doing biopsies daily, excisions every week, and I'm getting to like see real things. I'm getting to see all types of rashes and skin conditions, and you know, I'm learning so much because I'm so involved. I'm in every step of the process. I'm rooming these patients. I'm going over their prior medical history. I'm confirming their allergies and their medications. I'm asking them, like, what actually brings you in today before I go give a report to this physician? Like, what can we do for you? And I'm following up on their charts. I'm like, you know, pushing the refills to the providers. I'm filling out prior authorizations for their medications. So I'm just learning so much, because with prior authorizations, like, I'm literally having to comb through your chart, do a whole scavenger hunt to prove to these insurance companies why it's medically necessary that you get this medication. And like, that's the side of medicine that I've never really been in before. But yeah, I don't really know what else I have to talk about. I'm not even halfway done with my hair. I don't know why I thought this was gonna like take forever. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. I know it's not really like any of my other videos, and I probably won't do many videos like this going forward. You know, actually, that's a lie. Maybe not like a catch-up of my life, but I'll definitely be doing TAURYN talks, because y'all know TAURYN likes to talk, and I have things to talk about. So, you know, I probably will do one on just how expensive applying to medical school really is. I'll probably do one on like mental health and maybe a few other things. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this little catch up and you learned some new things about me. I gained a lot of subscribers after my last lock video, me dyeing my hair. And I know that a lot of you guys don't come on here for med school content, but I hope you'll stick around and maybe I'll be able to sprinkle in some hair content as well. But yeah, leave a comment if you have any questions or concerns, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, guys.
She wanna know where I've been and who I see. She wanna know where